Okay, so I just completed my first week of student teaching, and at times it was a crazy week because of all the snow days, but I absolutely love it. Students are crazy. This is supposedly, I think I mentioned before, the worst group of students my teacher's had in the 34 years that she's been teaching, so that's a little daunting, but overall, I'm really excited about uh, getting to know these students more. Beginning of the week, I was a little overwhelmed because they were benchmark testing. So, what that really means is essentially the students weren't in their respective classes. They like whoever had my teacher's sixth period would have to be in their first period, and that happened the two first days of the week. And then Wednesday we had a snow day, and then Thursday we had 2 hours, and then today was my first real day getting to know my students. And where they sit and such. So I was in the back of the classroom, making seating charts and talking to students. They keep asking me. I think it's funny. They keep asking how I know their names, and it just makes me think that or realize that they think they're somewhere invisible that they don't really know, or they just don't really know what's going on around them, or I guess really how, or that I'm watching them or like wanting to get to know them. I found that for me, it's so much easier to warm up to middle school students. And uh, for me personally, I really enjoyed getting to know these students. They seem like they really care. The toughest part for me, though, is that they have, really tough home lives. And I hear about it, daily about a new student that, things you can't even imagine, which is different from Blacksburg High School for me. I have worked with inner city kids, so I know that I've worked with definitely different demographics, and I understand it, but it's difficult for me to like wrap my head around, I think, in the first week of what's going on. That they really don't have much support at home, so I'm trying, you know, to be that support as well, because I really want to show them that I'm not just there to complete, this student teaching, but that I'm really there to be there. I noticed a couple of things this week. When they were doing like vocabulary, a student yelled out, they're like, I don't even know how to pronounce this word. Like, that might be verbatim, but I'm not sure. And it just struck me, and I'm like, okay, you're spelling words, you're learning the definition, but if you can't recognize it again, what's the point? Like, you're never going to really remember, because, I know for me, I learn through sounds, and I'm sure those students are like that, but it's crazy to me that some of these students, and the way spelling is done in the middle school in general, just seems kind of pointless in a way, because these students aren't remembering and they are not registering any of this information. It's kind of just filling out a worksheet, just checking it off the list, if they even do the worksheet, that's a whole nother story. But I'm really trying to think, just what I can do with spelling, and hoping to tie some of Beers' stuff in for that. And I was hoping a girl today, we had this period called Extended Core, where there's only like 8 students that are in my class, and they're just there for extra help and for tutoring and for their other subjects as well. And this one girl, she's like, I don't get how to do this crossword puzzle. And prior to that, my teacher had been complaining, or not necessarily complaining, but just noting the fact that students don't do their work. And then when this student of mine was telling me that she needed help with the crossword puzzle, it struck me that that's probably why they're not turning it in, is because they're not having any instruction. They're not getting that pertinent information. They're just asked to fill it out, and the teachers expect them to be able to do it by then. Just because I think this is definitely a different group of students, and I'm not sure that they're used to having such struggling students. So I think my teacher's kind of forgetting that in a way. Not a fault of hers, I don't think at all, and I think she's, a pretty great teacher. I think it's really hard to remember certain things that you have not been accustomed to in the past couple years. So that's something that definitely struck me, that these students need to be constantly reminded of work that needs to be done, engaged, active, and they definitely need detailed instruction. That's something that I find is very crucial for a lot of the students that I'm going to have to teach, because if you don't explain it to them on their level 3 times, and I'm not even exaggerating, they won't do it. They'll just flat out not do it. They don't. Getting zeros to a lot of them is not intimidating. That's not, if they can't do the work, it's just not going to be done. So that's definitely something I am going to be keeping track of, and I'm still working out my unit, talking to my teacher. I have something in mind and a few activities, but I'm just still trying to wrap my head around the whole process, and making sure that my unit and like the work is they're capable of doing, and that it's not too tough nor is it too easy. That's definitely something I'm struggling with right now. But overall, the week was probably better than I could have imagined. I love my teacher. We get along very well. The team and I get along very well. Overall, I think it's going to be a great experience. Keeping my fingers crossed, though, because it is still middle school, so, I'm sure I'll come into my fair share of surprising days and such, but I'm real excited, and I just hope it all goes well.